Headlines on Infowars.com. 1 month after we first broke it, the Gray Lady, the New York Times confirms top scientists are saying Ebola may have gone airborne. Well, it was in CDC documents 2 years ago. We just wrote about that. We got attacked all over the media for simply saying scientists say Ebola may have gone airborne. Well, now it's in the New York Times, the Washington Post. It's breaking everywhere. Experts, Ebola may be airborne, could kill millions. Doctors confirm what InfoWars first reported last month on August 4th. Another headline, we were attacked for it again. Virologist, it's too late. Ebola will kill 5 million. I'm not saying that. That is the top German virologist facility, and that's in Bild. Their biggest magazines, biggest newspapers. That's all being reported in Germany. And I just told the guys, I said, why isn't that story red-linked? That's a red-linked story, and it is red-linked now. White House blunders. Senior official claims Saudi Arabia has extensive border with Syria. Yeah, no, they don't, folks. It's with Iraq. Continuing judge says founding fathers turning in graves at Obama's unconstitutional, murderous behavior. That's close quote. I want to get into that article. Kurt Nimmo writes, it will take ground troops to fight ISIS block by block. If they really want to take them out, they're not going to do that. They're going to give them money and claim they're fighting them to overthrow Assad. 1.8 million protests in Spain. I apologize. I said a million earlier. It was 1.8 million protested in Spain demanding separation like Scotland. Mad science, genetically modified microhumans, that means babies, to be farmed, close quote, for drug testing by 2017. Unbelievable. Should be babies to be kept in labs and tested on. I mean, you start having a baby symbol on the shampoo. Babies to be tortured to death. But they call them microhumans, so it's trending and okay. You can't make this stuff up. Vote yes on Scottish independence. Scotland finally has a chance to get free from the British. Another headline there. And again, folks, I've got extensive, what you call British lineage, but so did George Washington, and he absolutely defeated the Transylvanian king, King George III. And that's just what it comes down to. They're not British, they're not Scottish, they're not Irish, they're not Gaelic, they're not Viking. The royal house that ended up beating all the other royal houses out. William the Conqueror's Vikings, the Gauls, all of them got defeated by a Transylvanian house. And if you don't believe me, just type in Prince Charles is the heir of Count Dracula. It's mainstream news. That's how bizarre all this is. I mean, you could not, in a Twilight Zone movie, come up with something this bizarre. So we have all that information up on Infowars.com and more. And then I have another story I'm going to get to at the bottom of the hour and get our guest take on. Militia is now streaming to the border, saying they're going to stop the illegals being bussed across. So that's escalating. Also, another report here out of Breitbart, first reported here by Al Jazeera. Entire leadership of ISIS opposition wiped out by unexplained explosion. Just like at the end of episode 3 where they send all the so-called rebels to this base and then Darth Vader goes in and kills them all. Oh, Darth Vader, you're here to give us our reward. Yes, you definitely got your reward. The minority, non-quote radical, at Colonel Schaefer, who just been briefing Congress, head of Black Ops against Al-Qaeda for a decade. I had him on as he was on the cell phone leaving the Capitol, getting in his car 2 days ago. And he said, I said, is it 65% are Al-Qaeda like we're told? He goes, no, it's way above that. And then he said, but it's classified, I can't tell you. So then I just talked to Little Bird later, and it was 95%. But the point is, 95%, Congress has been briefed, is Al-Qaeda, now known as IS or ISIL, to confuse the public. That is huge. And now the non-radicals all were called to meet the non-radical meeting to be funded by NATO, and I'm afraid the whole building blew up. Nearly 50 senior commanders of a major coalition of Islamic moderates opposed to ISIS in Syria have been killed by an explosion at their secret command bunker as they met to discuss strategy against the Islamic State. This is why the Assad regime and others listen to this show on record. It's come out in the London Telegraph. Is because we're giving people the real analysis of how Cloak and Dagger works. Okay, I'm not bragging. It's just a fact. they were crazy to ever believe any of the intel they're giving the West isn't going right to IS to make sure they get taken out. Saudi Arabia runs IS with the West, and they are not going to have anybody get in the way of that. This war will be to mop up any rebels not controlled by al-Qaeda. And the public will be told it is to take out al-Qaeda. And that's Jerome Corsi, that's Colonel Schaefer, that's top generals on Fox News, that's my inside sources, but it's all that Syrian girl whose grandfather ran the regime before Assad. Now, when you read the Rockefeller Foundation documents or the Bertrand Russell documents, you get into social engineering, you read Huxley's Brave New World Revisited, that's nonfiction. His brother headed up UNESCO. That's the agency that's over UN, Agenda 21, and the global treaty that we're following, even though we never ratified it. Kind of like we're not ratifying the carbon taxes. Obama says he'll just sign an executive order. Or he'll open the borders, and then the UN gives him the authority. This is so incredible. Well, the crew just came in with a CNN article. We're going to get the video. Scotland, you want out? We'll take your place. David R. Wheeler, who is a traitor. In the past, in my view, in the past few years, as America has degenerated into political and economic chaos, it has become increasingly clear that we would be far better off if we apologize for our revolt against the crown and request to rejoin the United Kingdom. Well, it wasn't called the United Kingdom, them jackass, excuse me. It was called the British Empire. And it was incredibly corrupt and designed the first concentration camps that were then used against Native Americans. See, I actually have read hundreds of books on the British Empire. Back when I had time, I read history books every week. I still do sometimes when I go on vacation or something. I mean, I'm really into it. And I'm seeing all this British propaganda. People always talk about the Israel lobby manipulating us. We're going to Rosa Koire here in a moment. And I don't like the fact that that's going on. But there's the Saudi Arabian interest, the Chinese telling us what movies we can have. And America is like just a joke now. And I'm not saying that to bash the country. I love the country. We need to admit it. All of this, they set up the Council on Foreign Relations in 1922 to Anglophile, as they call it, with British intelligence, New York. It became the fad then to speak with an Atlantic accent like Thurston Howell. Oh, I love you. That was people doing an affected British accent. Okay? And you couldn't even get into high society unless you had like these connections or been on the Mayflower and stuff like that. They have all these societies. Okay? And that really goes on. And I'm not here bashing the British people. They're great. They're huge listeners. The globalist parasites took it over because it was a great country. Just like the globalists use America to carry out all their operations and then blame America for it in the end. This is what the New World Order is about. But I see all these articles in the Boston Globe. Is the Declaration of Independence illegal to say that we could overthrow a government? They're fundamentally attacking the Founding Fathers. Not that they were perfect, but because what they want to bring in is the opposite. And when CNN has articles, this is an interview, this is a transcript. David R. Wheeler lives in Lexington, Kentucky, where he is a freelance writer and journalism professor at Asbury University. We ought to tweet at him and say, you know, if this country was, you know, still a sovereign nation, people like him would be up on treason charges. This is Alex Jones for InfoWarsLife.com. The latest in preparedness is now here. An electrically stabilized colloidal silver solution that can be added to both your home cabinet and preparedness pack alike. Concentrated to 30 parts per million in what has been dubbed the survival silver solution. The new InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver is the answer for you and your family. And it's entirely free of toxic artificial additives that are loaded into many products. The InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Silver is so powerful that it is concentrated into a 2-ounce bottle and is not recommended for extended continual use. This is not a low-grade formula. We are working with one of the top laboratory manufacturers in the United States to bring you the best form of colloidal silver using electrical processes within a base of deionized water for your preparedness storage or your home kitchen. Purchase your bottle of InfoWarsLife.com Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver today and find other amazing supplements at InfoWarsLife.com.